Welcome to Plan Watch Walk, the channel which brings you some of the best walking around. Today we're going to be having a look at footwear. Which one's the best? How do we work out which one we should be wearing? So we're looking at the boot versus the trail shoe. So we're going to be looking at, initially we're going to be looking at 7 areas, criteria to look at and consider which one for which of those particular areas and the considerations. Then we're going to look at a number of scenarios, 4 or 5 scenarios. Then we'll finish off at the end just to bring some key benefits and downsides and features, etc. around each of the areas. So if we start off, if we look at protection. So start off with the boot. Protection wise, if you look at the structure of a boot protection, it's higher. The rigidity of the sole, there's not as much movement sitting around there. In general rigidity and protection, the laces are pulling further up into the ankle and the front of the foot. It's a higher level of protection. Not so much sitting protection wise on the trail shoe, but that said, these days there's a lot of design coming in and rigidity pulled in, but you know, there's not as much rigidity naturally sits within inside a trail shoe. The durability of the footwear. So the boot itself, going back to the boot, the durability, you would expect, statistically wise, you expect to get somewhere in the regions of about 1,000 miles out of a boot. So it will last a long time, and that's because again of the makeup, the durability, the sole, etc. Trail shoe, you'd probably expect to get about half of that. So again, don't last as long, but from a fit and comfort point of view, slightly different. So moving on to the comfort. If we start, we'll go to the trail shoe this time. If you look at the comfort of the trail shoe itself, it's a lighter weight construction. So it naturally, comfort wise, you would expect it to be a lot more comfortable when wearing. These ones here are my trail shoes, and when I first got these, I put them on. They were like putting a pair of slippers on. They were really, really good and a great pair of shoes. So from a comfort point of view, there's a bit more wiggle room in your toes. There's a bit more movement sitting around in your foot. From the boot point of view, the comfort wise, we'll get into breaking in the boot a little bit later, but once they're broken in, comfort wise, a boot can be exceptionally comfortable. There's not as much movement sitting within inside a boot, so it's a lot snugger fit, which is actually what you want. When we get onto weight, we'll be looking at some more about that. So from a comfort point of view, once they're broken in and spend the time breaking them in, comfort wise, a boot can be exceptionally comfortable. Climate. If we just look at the UK, we've got the 4 climates, the 4 seasons within inside the UK. Personal point of view, the winter and the spring, early spring, the go-to shoe for me is always the boot, because basically the underfoot, if you're on the hills or the fells or anywhere else, there's a lot of bogginess sitting inside, there's a lot of wet sitting outside there. If you can get a boot with Gore-Tex or some sort of waterproof liner in them, it's well worth, if you can, getting the waterproof liner sitting inside there. Climate wise, if you're looking at the spring and the summer, no reason at all why you shouldn't be using the trail shoe. They're a lot lighter, to a certain extent they're easier to walk in, and again they're a great shoe sitting from there. So weight wise, 2 areas of weight sitting inside here. There's the weight of the shoe itself and the weight of the backpack. We'll start off with the weight of the shoe. Pretty straightforward. This shoe is a lot lighter than a boot. So if you're looking at doing a faster walk, you would definitely be looking at a trail shoe. And the weight wise is not as heavy on your foot. You're not taking as much weight around with you on every step. The weight of the boot itself, the weight of the boot is heavier. These are trail shoes, trail boots, walking boots. You can get climbing boots and you can get really heavy duty. So on a trail boot, you can get, these are a suede covering to them, but you can get leather. Again, weight wise will depend on what you want. But the other thing to consider as well, if you're looking at weight, is weight of your backpack. So if you're carrying a lot of weight on your back, you want stability in your feet, because if your feet aren't, you're not stable on your feet, and with some weight on your back, you're going to be moving about a bit more. So always think about heavier pack, heavier duty shoe. Okay, water. If we're walking around with water around, so typically again in the winter, in the springtime where there's more water around, personally, go-to footwear is always the boot. I don't like walking in with wet feet. Doesn't do a lot for me. Certain people don't mind. That said, these trail shoes here, these have got a Gore-Tex lining to them, so they're pretty waterproof. Again, height-wise, sitting here, the height of the boot will naturally give you more protection. Breaking in, as I mentioned before, of the trail shoe, these particular ones were like putting slippers on, but I wouldn't be advocating getting a pair and heading out on a walk straight off. Break them in, go for some shorter walks, wear them around the house a wee bit, break them in. A walking boot, as I mentioned before about the fit and the comfort wise, they're going to be a lot more snug on your foot. They need to be a lot more snug on your foot. The breaking in of these can take a lot longer. So as you can see here, I'm putting a lot of pressure on here and they're not moving too much, and these are quite an old pair of boots. So the breaking in, they will take longer. Go for shorter walks, build them up, etc. Scenarios. So if we are out in the hills in the winter, personally, no brainer, walking boot every time. Again, because of the wet underfoot, you'll probably be wearing a pair of gaiters as well. So yeah, so underfoot, definitely walking around here. Coastal walk, maybe it's in the summer or whatever, not a problem at all. Trail shoes, a really good the go-to shoe at that point. Heavy backpack, mentioned before, if you've got a heavy backpack, you need rigidity in your feet. Walking boot every time. Uneven ground, you're up maybe on some scree or on the fells, etc. Again, personally, I would go across to the walking boot. Another scenario, if you're looking at a faster walk, lighter pace, probably haven't got as much in your back, head off across here. So really, just to bring it into the key benefits and probable downsides, if we look at the trail shoe, the key benefits: a little and no breaking in period, lightweight for faster pace walking, breathability, cooler, versatility for multiple purposes. So they're a really good go-to. For the hiking boot, stability, foot and ankle protection, warmer and colder weather, a good all-round traction. Possible downsides: keep on the hiking boot, they require breaking in. Heavier and bulkier. Possible downsides of the trail shoe: less supportive, will need replacing more often. So I really hope that's been of use, and it's helped you in making some decisions around which shoe, etc. Here at Trail Watch Walk, we've got a lot of walks sitting there on YouTube. We've got a lot of planning information for each of those walks sitting in the website. I hope you've enjoyed this how-to, and look forward to seeing you on further how-tos and walking. So bye for now.